Shlayla, and have a good night. We have here not only our regular class, but we have new students who are now in around, I think, class number 8 or 9 of their program. They started in February. So we have two groups of students with us this evening, Dikla, some more advanced and some more beginners. But everybody's really interested to hear what you have to say, to tell us on what you do and about the field. And so you have the floor, Bakasha.
Okay, thank you very much, first of all. Let me apologize in advance, just as a precaution. As you know, this is evening time here in Israel, and my baby girl is sick, so hopefully she will not wake up and interrupt us. But let's pray and, and hope that, that indeed it will go by smoothly and without an issue. And if something will occur, then I promise to join in again and compensate for the time that we've lost. You're welcome. So my name is Dikla. I'm the CISO of Appsflyer. Does anyone know what Appsflyer is? More or less. Okay. So Appsflyer is an online SaaS company. Listen, if I'm starting to curse and say words that you don't know, just raise your hand and let me know, and I will try to better explain. SaaS, software as a service, company that supplies advertising capabilities, how to better interact and how to maximize the value that one can gain from advertising in the mobile environment. A bit about myself. So I'm located here in Israel. When I was 18, I joined the army, did what we called here Mamran course, which is kind of like a 6 years, very, very hectic development studies in order to become a developer. When I reached the designated unit, I found that I am designated not to be a developer, but to be an infrastructure, an IT lead. So I started my role there. It was almost 20 years ago, time flies, in operating system infrastructure, a lot of Windows, networking, things like that. That gave me a very, very broad idea of networking and infrastructure and how it works. What are the pain points in it? What are the things that that we can do using it? And a very clear understanding of how the whole thing works. Now in Israel, it's an amazing experience that you get as a 19-year-old person with almost no experience in the IT area or in other areas. The amount of influence that you get when you get that admin credentials and the complexity of the things that you need to achieve. It's not just publish some kind of a service. It's publish a service to tens of thousands of users, which are located in different places with high or small bandwidth capabilities and in a very, very complex world. So it gave me a lot of tools. Following several years there, I went to a management course there and I became a manager in the whole web infrastructure. And from there, I continued on to 888, which is an online gambling company. In there, I've spent 12 years almost, doing a big variety of infrastructure-related roles, starting with what we call DevOps. Do you guys know what DevOps is? Great. So starting with DevOps and then operation. Operation is basically a position in which one needs to manage the day-to-day operation of the environment. In case of failures, need to manage that failure, need to make sure that everyone is aligned to it and are handling it, and everyone is updated on the current situation and putting up all the efforts and all the relevant people in order to take care of that. So this is something that's very critical to my current day as a CISO, because of the fact that it gave me a really good understanding of the business. It was no longer an issue of technical capabilities, of how the infrastructure is designed and working. Now it was also an issue of how the business is working. What's the impact of each and everything that's happening? Which are the key stakeholders inside the company and outside of it? How do I need to update them? How do I need to approach them? In case I need their help in something, how do I get it? What do I need to tell them? How do I orchestrate it so I'll be able to achieve what I want? That's on the one hand. And on the second hand, it gave me a very, very clear and stable channel into the development world. Because whenever developing a new application or new capabilities, I had to make sure that I can keep it available at all times. And for that, I needed to create monitoring. So I actually had to sit down in each of the design processes of each and every application to make sure my requirements are kept. So I'll be able to keep this environment up and alive. From there on, I continued to the security world. I managed the security team in 88, which is basically a team that handles, well, a variety of things. I think that both the guys who just started and the guys that are here for a while already understand that there's a big variety of tasks and of job descriptions inside the security world. And there's many overlapping in between them. So it's very hard to state by the name exactly what each one is doing. And that was my team in 88. We did a variety of things: infrastructure security, production security, software security, SDLC, a bunch of everything. And from there on, I've reached Appsflyer. Actually, not long ago, only 2 months ago, into the new role of the CISO. And that is one big challenge. So I want to ask you guys, who do you think are the clients of the CISO? Who are my customers? All together.
You mean like the teams that you manage?
No, I mean like who are, let's say that someone from the support, his customers are the people that are calling the support. The development, his customers are whoever consumed the development that he did. I, as a CISO, who's my customers?
The CEO, the top management of the company.
True. Yeah. Who else?
From the IT department and
Clients.
Everyone.
Everyone inside the company and the clients of the company. So I want to make sure that whoever is using Appsflyer is safe. And when I'm looking specifically on Appsflyer, and this is an example for each and every other SaaS company. So Appsflyer is doing monetization of mobile application and advertising of mobile application. So I have my clients, the customers who are paying money in order to optimize their advertisement. And I also have each and every person who has a mobile and has the Appsflyer SDK installed in one of them of their applications. So I'm committed to those people, which is basically half the world who has mobile devices, and probably each and every one of you, in order to make sure that the data that we're saving on each and every one of those customers are kept safely, and we have all the relevant controls to make sure that in a case of a data breach or in case something happens, your data is kept safely on my infrastructure. And this is a very, very complex role because the threats are everywhere. And it's kind of like a game. If I'm looking at what's going on in Israel and Gaza, I'm sure you're all more or less aware of what's happening there. For the past, correct me if I'm wrong, but 20 years, more or less, passed since the Itnat we've been experiencing here in Israel missiles that are shot from Gaza and all kinds of, I don't want to simplify it because it's human life, but they keep on trying to bite us and to create noise in Israel. So we've created the Kippat Barzel, if you guys are aware what it is, which the Iron Dome, which is supposed to identify a missile once it gets shot and then destroy it while it's in the air. So we did that. And then they started with the tunnels and they found another way in. And now we've created some kind of, a mechanism that identified the tunnels and and built some concrete giant thing inside the ground in order to avoid that. But I'm sure that tomorrow they will find something else. And it's the same thing in security. They will continue looking for the weak spots, and they will find the weak spots. And then we will have to see what we're doing against it. And this is a never-ending game. And it's not easy at all, because for each and every cent that they're spending in order to try and penetrate us or whoever, I need to spend tens of thousands more in order to protect myself from them. I think a place where it's really, really clear is DDoS. Does everyone know what a DDoS is? Denial of service attack. Easy. If you'll Google it, how can I buy a DDoS, or a phrase of similar kind, you'll probably see that you can buy a fairly strong DDoS attack and $5 an hour, $10 an hour, maybe 15, but this is what we're talking about. Really easy, so simple. I've seen that in the session you just had, you saw Metasploit. It's so easy to use it. Log into a site, install Kali, click help. Okay, this is the vulnerability I want to use. Okay, those are the parameters. This is the target. I'm done. Easy. Now for me, in order to protect the infrastructure that I have, now I need to invest some time and effort in order to make sure that they are kept safe. It's not as easy as click, click, click. It's much more complicated. It's much more related to the business. I want to make sure that I will only block non-legit traffic. I don't want to waste one legit client. So I need to be very, very to the point and very, very accurate in what I'm meddling with, because I don't want to harm the business. And as in everything, there's always gray. So there's the black, which is really easy to identify, and there's the white that's really easy to identify. But in between, there's a whole lot of gray that we need to deal with. And this is why for each and every time that I need to analyze an area and create solution for it, I need to start dealing with all those grays. So in this ongoing game of understanding where our vulnerabilities lies, the CISO will always need to have all the balls running in the air and all the balls playing with all those balls and making sure that nothing falls. And things will fall because that's reality. But I want to make sure that the ones that will fall won't harm me as much. And always I need to find the place where I'm most vulnerable and the place where the impact will be big and concentrate on that. And I think that at the end of the day, this is the CISO's most difficult and challenging work. Playing with all those balls in the air and making sure that you always look at them. And when something new arrives, you have to analyze it really quickly in order to understand, is this something that I need to invest some more time in? And I can tell you about a debate that I had this morning with my employees. We've seen a new technology, which was really cool and looked really amazing. And they gave us this really list of vulnerabilities that they found in our infrastructure, tons of things. Sadly, as many times, in order to fix those vulnerabilities, I can't just click on the keyboard. I need to make sure that others will do that, not inside the security. Because it was code related or infrastructure related, and none of those things are actually under my hands. I need to make sure that they're secured, but I'm not the one who manages them. And it was really an amazing tool, startup with really high potential. And I had to explain to them, guys, the things that you found looks great, but is it really what we need right now? Is it really now our most critical thing, the top risk? And if that is our top risk, is it something that we can push to the other teams to execute? Or is it something that they will never execute and then we will waste our time pushing walls that cannot be moved? Because one of the other things that are so challenging is the fact that many times we're not the hands on the keyboard. We need to make sure that other people are doing their work and are security oriented, and are fully aware and accountable for the security issues within their field. And this is something that's really, really difficult to achieve. And this is something that's very unique to the CISO role in an organization. Because usually, if you're a developer, then you're in charge on your part of the code. And if you're an infrastructure person, you're in charge of the infrastructure. And if you're legal, you're in charge of the legal. But the CISO, his work is tied down all around those things. So legally, there are aspects that we're very much involved in the whole DPO related issues, the privacy of our clients, all of that. And on the development, we need to make sure that the development is secure. And in the operation, infrastructure, need to make sure that the infrastructure is secure. And the CEO, he just got an email of a phishing attack, and someone who's trying to convince him to wire transfer some money because of whatever. And the other guy just got fired. And I need to make sure that during this time frame in which he still have a user, he will not take data away and he will not send anything. So it's easy to understand that really we're everywhere, whether it's the technical details, the development, the working procedure, the HR related issues. This is a very complicated work. I know that you guys probably want to know a bit more about my day-to-day, so I'll talk about that, and then I will leave you some time for questions. Point me to wherever interests you most. So when it comes to day-to-day, sadly, it's mostly meetings. We don't get to work a lot, which is kind of challenging. So because the CISO's work touches so many people inside and outside of the organization, meetings are a really big part of it. I can tell you that when I entered Appsflyer, I made a quick analysis of which are the key stakeholders that I need to create relationship with. And a lot of my time is being spent on that, on working on those relationships, making sure that when something happens in their territory, I'll be updated. And in a way, preparing the infrastructure for the fact that very soon I will start asking them for a lot of things. And I want to make sure that when I do, they will be responsive. It's a very human-related job, being a CISO. It's definitely not only technical. There's much more to it. Also, technical related issues. In each and every new development, in each and every new infrastructure-related project, I want to make sure that it's comply with the security standards that we've set for ourselves. A lot of work around that, working with IT, working with the DevOps teams, making sure that whatever they do, they always keep security in mind. And mostly trying to educate and enable the organization to be as security oriented as possible. Because I can do a lot of things, but at the end of the day, if the developer will make a small mistake or will not think about security while doing something, so easily we can have like a huge breach. And when you're looking at statistics, it depends on where you're looking at, but in each and every statistic that I've seen, around 60 to 80% of all security related incidents are connected to the human factor and to the internal one. Many times it's by mistake. Phishing is easy. You all got it, I'm sure, at some point in your life. An email telling you that you've won tens of thousands of dollars and all you need to do is just put in your details, or things that are much more complex. And this is why we really have to be everywhere. So my day-to-day is a lot of meetings, a lot of boring documents and other bureaucracy. But that bureaucracy serves us. because this is a way to enhance our abilities inside the organization and to create more ability to influence on everything that's happening. And I think that this is very important for a CISO, the ability to influence and be everywhere. And now questions, so I'll be able to rest my voice a bit.
Dikla, who works directly, who's on your team? Or what job positions could our students think about that they would be working under you or in any organization? Who are the soldiers, the foot soldiers of the CISO?
Okay. So there's a few soldiers that are directly under the CISO. It's very different per organization. I can tell you that in Appsflyer we have 3 teams. One team is the GRC. This team is basically in charge of making sure that all our GRC compliances are being kept. This is on the one hand, and on the other hand, it serves as a customer-facing team to make sure that all their security-related requirements are met. Another thing that we're doing there is, like others are checking us, we're checking others. Each and every partner or vendor that we have needs to go through an analysis to make sure that they're keeping the security standards that we wish them to keep. This is a very challenging work being in this team, and the amount of work that will only increase because of the supply chain. Do you know this phrase? Because of the supply chain issues. So today, more and more organizations understand that they are fully in charge of their data, whether they're keeping it or someone else is. And they're fully, need to make sure that they're fully protected for a situation in case someone else will have access to their data, their assets. SolarWinds is a real famous example of what happens when this doesn't happen. I can tell you that a week and a half ago, there was another really disturbing event, CodeCov, if you heard of it. Small company, a part of the CI/CD process. They're doing some scanning for code coverage, QA testing to make sure that everything is being kept. So someone managed to get access to their code and to their plugin, making it, I think, one small line in a file that has over 1,000 rows. But basically what this small line is doing, it identifies secrets that are kept, certificates, keys, whatever, and just send them to that URL. Simple. And that line of code ran in thousands of organizations worldwide. So their secrets were just sent into a random IP address of the attacker, giving this attacker the ability to, if and when he's able to gain access to their environment, he has the keys to the kingdom. So such a thing, really easy to happen. This is something that the GRC team is supposed to minimize the risk, not solve it, obviously. Again, this is like Gaza. We will never solve it. It's just a matter of raising the bar. It's just a matter of putting more stones into that wall. Also, what we have is the application security team, which makes sure that our application is being kept secure. This team handles most of the job with the R&D. He will be present in all the new feature designs, making sure that the security standards are being kept. He will do the pen testing and handle those things. And we have the security operation team. This team handles making sure that all our corporate services are secured, that we have a decent incident response capabilities, even more than decent actually. But this is something that's really important. And all the rest, by the way, all the R&D and all, sorry, and all those.
How many people is that on your teams, on your security teams?
So currently we have 8 people under me, but the team needs to grow even more.
How many people work at Appsflyer altogether?
Over 1,000.
Oh.
Yeah.
So eight employees are involved in security of 1,000 people in the company. So you have a lot of work. You need more people in security.
Exactly. And I can tell you that relatively, this is a good amount of people.
Yes.
There are many, many places that has more than 1,000 employees that don't have a security team as big and as strong as Appsflyer do. And sadly, many times it's just a matter of, and that's not the case in Appsflyer, by the way, of after you get hit. I've heard of numerous situations in which someone gets hit and then suddenly, puff, the team grows like tremendously. But again, nothing we can do here.
Other questions, anybody?
How do you find managing work-life balance as a CISO?
Very interesting. You have to set boundaries for yourself. I think that many times as a mother, you just have no choice. You need to go and pick up the kids. So you go and pick up the kids. And I have to say that I think I'm pretty good at that. But there's always room for improvement. Just need to define the boundaries. And my kids are small, as I've mentioned before. I have a baby. Well, 2 years. She's not that small anymore, but the kids are still small, so they require my attention. So they will get it.
You don't find yourself like not giving enough to both sides? Like you're always not doing enough, right?
But no matter what I would do, if you want to be good at what you're doing, you will never do it 100%. You just need to be able to understand that that's the case. It is what it is. I'm doing my best. It's the same way in security. Regardless of work-life balance, you're doing your best. And it's not, and you will never fully succeed. And there will always be events and there will always be incidents. Listen, I came from the gambling environment. In the gambling environment, there are incidents. You are targeted. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And then you understand that that's okay. As long as the big balls don't drop and you're doing your best, some will drop. Okay. You're doing your best. Listen, it's like in operations when you have SLA, you will not meet the 100%. You will meet the 95.999, but you will still have incidents. This will never go away.
Dikla, Hannah Hoffman asks, what happens after you get hit? Give us a little bit of an outline of, okay, how do you respond to this?
So it really depends on the situation. But first of all, isolate the situation. It really depends on the scenario, yeah. But the idea is to isolate the situation and remediate. Work on making sure that you fix everything, and notification. Make sure all the relevant key stakeholders in the organization are well informed on what's going on. They feel like they're in control. And for next time, just be better. Just learn. Yeah. How important is security software?
Yeah.
Wow, it so depends on how important is security software, like static code analysis, dynamic code analysis, and others. Really depends on who you are and what you're doing and the scale that you're working on. But it's important. It's definitely something that's important. And I think that we will see an increase in the trend of organizations that are using it. The whole CI/CD thing, it's relatively new. So putting into security in the CI/CD, it's even more new. And a lot of organizations are struggling really hard with it, because when you're in that junction and you're running your tools as a part of the CI/CD and you find vulnerabilities that are high and you find vulnerabilities that are critical, you need to decide, am I stopping? Am I blocking? Or will I let them pass and inform them of the issue? And this is a really frustrating decision because you want to be an enabler to the business. And stopping a development from going live is an issue. And this is something you have to stand by and and protect each and every time it happens. And it happens a lot probably in the beginning. So it's something that's really, really complicated. And more organizations are entering this world. And part of that is running all those plugins inside the CI/CD process.
Thank you, Dick.
Do you need to understand the business side of the organization? Oh, most definitely, yes. You need to be the more that you will know on the business side, which means the sales and the competitors and where we're standing and all that, you will have more data in order to have decision, in order to do decision making. You will have more common ground with the relative stakeholders. So this is something that's really, really critical.
I like this question. How do you measure success, given the fact that there's always going to be breaches and things to do? So how do you measure success?
In what's completed, in the amount of things that we did. Listen, we're doing risk management. We haven't talked about it almost, but we're doing the risk management. We're identifying the big risks. We're creating projects out of those risks. And then we're deploying those capabilities. If those capabilities have been deployed, this is a success. This is something that we can say, wow, okay,
but
cool.
what if it doesn't help you? Like, what if you make a mistake because you make a wrong call about like, what do you think is important? And then because of that, one of the big balls drop.
You learn.
Right, I guess.
It's fine to, I mean, no one everyone makes mistakes. And it really also depends on the organization. I can tell you that in Appsflyer, the CEO says, make mistakes, learn.
Right.
I've already heard him say that multiple times. We all make mistakes. It happens. You learn. Just make sure that you learn, that's all. Make sure that once a mistake was done, you analyze it, you understand what happened, and you'll do it better next time. How about jumping straight into CISSP, CSAM certificate, and then others? This is a tough one. I'm a true believer in experience and not in certificates. Nothing beats experience. So what you need is the ticket in. And if the certificate will give you the ticket in, then it's a good thing. If you have a chance to get in without a certificate, get in.
Great advice.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dikla. Thank you so much for being with us.
You're welcome.
And your baby.
Thank you.
And everything you do. Thank you so much for being here. And we wish all the best to all of Appsflyer.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.